Another to a story News 10 has been following. Today marks the anniversary of the brutal murder of an Ashland man.
It was 1 year ago when David Grubbs was found nearly decapitated on a bike path near Hunter Park in Ashland. News 10's Whitney Clark has the latest on the investigation.
This bench and light, a permanent memory of David Grubbs, steps away from where he was killed a year ago. Grubbs, a popular, loved Ashland man whose murder remains a mystery.
David was a really nice guy that was extremely well liked by everybody. And so what's really changed in the investigation over time is we've been spending more and more of our time and resources looking into the possibility that this might have been a completely random act.
The year-long investigation began with a 911 call.
He was on the bike path not too far from the Parks and Recreation maintenance building.
Since then, Ashland Police have received more than 800 tips and interviewed more than 1,700 people, investigators even getting help from the FBI.
We're a year into this case and we're still getting a tremendous amount of help from everybody else. And the FBI doesn't normally get involved in local investigations. They've been extremely generous with their time.
Detectives from Ashland working with those special agents to develop a possible suspect profile. That profile isn't yet available. Experts say they're detailed and take a lot of time to put together. Dr. Mary Ellen O'Toole spent 28 years with the FBI, investigating and profiling thousands of cases, including the Unabomber and Zodiac killer. While the former agent can't specifically talk about the Grubbs case, she says random homicides are rare.
Stranger violence, in other words, the offender does not know the victim whatsoever, occurs much less frequently.
According to the Bureau of Justice statistics, between 1976 and 2005, 14% of murders were between strangers. Zeroing in on a possible suspect in a random crime takes skill. O'Toole says it all starts at the crime scene. Agents begin by reviewing the thousands upon thousands of details from the original reports. That could take days, weeks, or even months. Those details include everything from photos of the crime scene, where the murder happened, and what was left behind. O'Toole says if the offender doesn't leave physical evidence or a weapon, the killer may have experience.
That means that they may be knowledgeable about forensics. That means that they could have committed the crime before. That means they could have even been prosecuted in a court of law and heard forensic evidence presented against them. So now they're smarter.
However, O'Toole says no two profiles are the same.
You won't find a profiler that says this is the profile of a murderer, because I can tell you from my experience, I've seen people who've murdered, and they're from all different backgrounds and types and personalities.
All of that information put in a report. Those profile reports, O'Toole says, could be anywhere from 7 pages long to 50, providing a blueprint of who the suspect may be, whether they've killed before, possible motives, and even personality traits, like whether or not they have mental health issues. One thing the report won't include: a physical description or name.
To come up with a person's name is really a myth that comes from books, TVs, and movies.
The unknown killer profile, more like an investigative tool which may or may not help police build a case.
Oftentimes cases can go unsolved for years, decades, if not longer, and so we don't know. And the profile could be right on the money, accurate, but the suspect's not identified until years later and sometimes never.
1 year later, Ashland Police hope that's not the case here. They've worked on the Grubbs murder every day, hoping they're one step closer to justice. Covering your news in Ashland, Whitney Clark, News 10.
Ashland Police say as time goes on, it looks like the Grubbs murder may have been random, but they are not ruling anything out. The FBI could not comment officially on the case.